Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Katie and welcome to another Bookish adventure. So, full disclosure, I'm having to film at a later time, which is probably why the lighting is going to be really shitty. And turns out I had tonsillitis that entire time. So if I look really tired, slightly pale, or my voice starts to go, that is why. We're going to be doing my August wrap up and September TBR. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm really surprised I actually managed to read the amount I did during August, because I was basically ill for the entirety of it and did not want to read. Like on my lunch break it would get to a point where I just wanted to give up. I had really bad headaches all the time. I felt like shit. I just did not want to do anything. Basically. But very happily I did manage to complete some books. I read a total of 599 pages and somewhere around the 12-hour and something mark in audiobooks. My TBR started off not quite right. The book I wanted to read turns out I hadn't actually bought, so I had to read my backup plan, which was Children of Virtue and Vengeance. So if you have seen my reading vlog on this, you will know my general thoughts on this book. I do want to do an actual review on it, and it is coming because I've now finished it. When I did my reading vlog, I was pretty close to finishing it. Considering all my issues, I did still give it 4 stars. I think characterization wise aside, because that was an issue, the actual world building and mythology really stepped up in this book. Now that magic was really kind of just everywhere, it definitely felt like it was its own character. So seeing the different types of magic, seeing it being wielded, seeing how they wield it, how they conjure it, everything, there was just so many different layers. And also it wasn't the magic that they were used to before. The incantation kind of backfired, but not quite. But there was a kind of new breed of people is a way of putting it. Yeah, so it was really interesting to finally actually see that happen. You know, we had a little bit of it in the first book, but now we got it in this one. There were some serious issues character wise. Zelly, I just was kind of done with her, to be honest. I just couldn't back her at all in this book. I found it really hard to connect with her. I was team Amari the whole way. She seemed to be the only one who could see both sides of it, and it very much felt like once she kind of found her people, Z was quite happy just to dump Amari, and it was a bit like, okay, if you've forgotten everything that happened in the first book, it's kind of like you've got what you wanted and now she's just it was weird and it was not okay, and I was so annoyed by it. I have a lot of concerns going forward into the 3rd book, which may or may not ever happen, who knows. I am concerned majorly that we're gonna go down the whole European slavery route. I'm concerned. I just feel like it would be adding an extra leg that didn't need to be there. It doesn't feel like it's gonna add to this story, so I'm kind of concerned that we're going to go down the road, because in a weird way it kind of feels like a cop-out, considering the point of these first 2 books. It was to fight for their freedom in the country that they were in and to overcome the oppressed nature that they had being magic wielders. So if we suddenly now go down that route, it's going to be like, really? Just wrap up what you had, fix what you did in this one. So the second book I finished was Harley Merlin and the Stolen Magicals. This is the 3rd book in the Harley Merlin series, and although they are like direct follow-ons from each other, this one was a real direct connection to the 2nd book, in which magical children of a certain age were targeted by the dark people, and in this one it was a continuation of trying to find them, trying to figure out who was the mole within the coven, and some other bits, plus Harley sort of getting to grips with her background, wanting to find out more about her family history, and especially in regards to her dad. Again, this is another 3-star. It's kind of fine, it's kind of pootling along fine. There never seemed to be like a sense of urgency, there never seemed to be a kind of rush against time, and there never really seemed to be a search for said mole. It just kind of was there, but nothing was really happening. Again, the most interesting fact was that we got a different point of view. So in the last book we had Tatiana, this time it was swapped out for Santana, and to be honest, that is something that I think that is kind of driving this book, because a lot of the magicals, they have very either interesting and complex magic, like Santana and Tatiana. They both have very interesting and different magic to Harley, and also their backgrounds as well are very different. So that as well is very interesting. And we do kind of get more little bits to do with the coven and how they work. Like they have like a family day in which families come and see how you're doing, and obviously Harley's parents are dead and she has adoptive human people who can't come, whatever. So that bit is very interesting. I just feel like it needs a bit more of a punch. That being said, we did finally meet the bad guy, Catherine Shipton, and she seems like she could be really fun. I think she's definitely yeah, she is a bag of crazy. There is just a bag full of cats swinging around in her head. She is just absolutely bonkers when she was fighting Harley. And I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite things about this book series, is that when they fight, you get a proper magical fight. It's not shied away from. This was something that I picked up on in Throne and Glass, actually, was something I didn't like, was that there was a big fight that was gonna happen and then you never had it, and it was like, and it's only until the books went further on that you finally got it. But this book, from the start, it is properly, you were seeing magic being wielded against people, and I really like it. Like, if you're gonna give me a fight, give me a fight. So yeah, Catherine is utterly bonkers. The way she was just like, oh, you rumpled my dress. She's not on the same plane as everyone else. The girl is completely nuts. I think she's gonna be a fun villain because she's at that level of just not where everyone else is. I do at least want to try and get through one more book by the end of this year, so that'll make 4, possibly might be able to do 5, just depends really on what I feel like listening to. I've got a couple of books I definitely want to listen to before the year is out, especially one being my Halloween read, but I'd like to at least get one more, and then I'm pretty close to being, I think, halfway with that, at least the Harley series. Obviously the whole thing itself is like 16 books or something ridiculous. I will be interested to see, yeah, whether this is going to be a continuation for Harley or whether it's going to be set up and done, but I feel like it won't be, not in like 4 books, but we'll see. So the book I wanted to read was The Rose and the Dagger. So yeah, thought I had it, didn't have it, was an idiot. I read the first book, The Wrath and Dawn, way back when, at the start of the year. Very excited to get to this, and yeah, apparently you forgot to buy it. I did manage to start this. I am about halfway through with it, so I'm very happy. I didn't think I was going to get that much of it read, but I did read last night whilst I was in bed, and I actually just had like a solid chunk of reading. No one spoke to me on my lunch break. It was glorious. I'm really enjoying it. It kind of has taken to the halfway point for it to feel like things are in motion and for things to start happening. We're getting a lot more other characters. I noticed this in the other set of books that I read about from her, the Mulan inspired ones, that in the first book you kind of seem to just really have only 2 characters, and then the second one comes out and then suddenly you're getting point of views from all these different characters. You're getting point of views from her sister, from like her dad, and just quite a few very sporadically dropped through, and I kind of wish that these were there to begin with, but it does kind of help the book kind of move forward a bit better, because it does feel like nothing is majorly happening, but we're finally getting to a point where she is trying to learn about her powers that she has, which she gets from her dad's side. Her dad is obviously kind of hiding something a bit weird, but I think she knew that he had magic. I don't really know. There are some bits that aren't massively clear, so we will see, but we're finally kind of getting to the magic side of this book, which I'm all here for. If you're gonna put it in, put it in. Don't just kind of drop it in there and be like, bye. It's finally being picked up, so we'll see. She hasn't developed massively character-wise. She's still a little bit snooty and I kind of just want to slap her down, but that's fine. We can ignore that. But otherwise, pretty good. I don't want to say I've got really high hopes for this book, but I kind of have high hopes for this book. I think especially seeing as the author has written 3 newer books which have had some mad hype, and in general for this book series I have seen a lot of love for it, so I don't know. I enjoyed the first duology of hers. I enjoyed the first book in this duology, and I'm enjoying this so far, but like I said, it has taken for the halfway point for it to kind of go anywhere, so now we're here kind of hoping that it's gonna just like kick up a notch. That was August, so just to go into my September TBR, I'm going to be listening to the final book in the David Bard trilogy, and that is Empire of Gold, maybe? I don't know, gold's in there somewhere. I am really looking forward to this. I've seen so much love for this series, and rightfully so. It is so good. In the second book, the royal family was spiraling out of control, and it was so much fun because no one trusted anyone, clearly. Like that whole entire family was just on a knife edge. They really didn't trust each other, and even the ones you thought did trust each other kind of didn't. They all had motives. Yeah, she's kind of very much just caught in the middle. Nari is trying to just keep going. A very big highlight was the fact that it was 5 years on from the first book, so it was great to kind of see them at a different point compared to where it left off. I am so excited for this third one. There is a lot to cover. There is like war is basically about to happen, or at least has happened, and now David Bard is kind of like destroyed by it, and it's going to see, okay, who's now in charge? Do they actually want what is right, or do they not? Dara is just a broken man is what my assumption, and I'm very excited for Nari and Ali because of where they ended up in the end of the last book, because it shouldn't physically be possible, yet somehow it was. So it's going to be interesting because I feel like she's not going to want to leave where she is. However, she's going to kind of feel guilty, and it's probably going to be like, you know what, we have to go back. So yeah, this trilogy has definitely been a highlight for me throughout this year. I've seen so much love for it, and rightfully so. Listening to the audiobook has been really good. I think it has helped me a lot because the book's very big. and it's a lot of information, and I find sometimes with certain books, listening to it, I just process it better than actually reading it. I think I just kind of get so intimidated by the size that when I'm reading it, I'm like, holy shit, I don't think I can do this. But listening to it, it just goes in at a different level, and I just understand it way more. So I have really, really high hopes. I'm pretty sure the first 2 books, I think both got 4 stars. I think that seems about right. So yeah, I've got very high hopes for this third one. And then finally, we have One of Us is Lying. So back when I told Alice that I wanted to start reading more murders, mysteries, like that sort of thing, she got me 2 books. This was one of them, and then There's Someone in Your House was the other. I'm not gonna lie, when I did see this one, I was actually pretty stoked for it, because again, I've seen a lot of love for this. Since this book, sequels have come out, the love for it has been pretty mad. So not gonna lie, I have some pretty high expectations of this book. I'm gonna be really let down if it's not as good as I hope it is. So this is the one where a bunch of kids go into detention and one of them doesn't come out, and it is that kind of murder mystery of which of them is lying, what really happened, do they all know who did it, are they covering for each other? I do not know who did it, I know nothing. I'm really happy that somehow I've managed to not see any spoilers to do with this, considering I know there is a sequel, and I think I have the sequel. I'm pretty sure Alice has already got me the sequel, and I was like straight in the bookshelf. I was like, do not read anything about this. And then there is one to do with some cousins, I think, but I'm not sure if that is connected to this or just connected to the school. So yeah, I do have some really high hopes for this one. I've seen the hype around it. Kind of glad I've taken this long to read it, because I don't enjoy reading books when they have hype. It really puts me off. I don't really do the whole super teenage cliche thing. I don't do it when I watch stuff. I don't really do it when I read it. So sometimes it is really nice to just indulge in that kind of ness. So I am quite excited for that. I don't lie. I'm happy to indulge in my little teenage moment if it means that someone's gonna get murdered. I don't really know how many people are gonna get murdered throughout the book, if it's just that one person or if some more. I hope for more, but that is the secret murderer inside me, like bring on the death. I am really happy for this. I need to get through The Rose and the Dagger so I can read this, because this is what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, I don't really have anything else on my list. There's a couple of books I'm thinking about reading, but it might just come down to how much time I have at the end of the month, what I'm feeling like, what I actually feel like reading, because I might just pick up something completely random and off list and be like, oh, you know what, I fancy that. So that is it for this week's video. I feel like I talked really, really fast, but I want to have my dinner and I want to get in my pajamas and I just want to be comfy. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of my picks. Have you read any of them? And let me know what were your highlights for August as well. If you feel like hitting that like button, then do that. And if you want to subscribe, do that too. I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you have a great weekend.